If you're thinking about buying a new construction home in Bellingham, there are a few things I wish every buyer knew before they walked into a model home. And because what most buyers don't realize is that some of the biggest mistakes that I personally see in real estate here in Bellingham actually happen when people buy a brand new house. And the tricky part is everything looks perfect, the model home is beautiful, the finishes are looking good, there's a bunch of upgrades in the house, and the sales agent makes the process seem so easy. But there are a few things that are happening behind the scenes that most buyers don't fully understand. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through some of the biggest mistakes buyers make when purchasing a brand new construction home here in Bellingham, and most importantly, how to avoid it. Hey everyone, my name is Aldo. I'm a local real estate agent here in Bellingham and Whatcom County, serving the area for just over 10 years. And the very first home that my wife and I ever bought was actually a brand new construction home in the Cordata neighborhood here in Bellingham. And a few years ago, we also built our own home from the ground up. So we've seen the process from both sides, not only as a real estate agent helping other clients buy a new construction home, but also buyers ourselves buying a new construction home and building as well. And because of that experience, we've learned what to watch out for, what questions to ask, and where buyers tend to get caught up off guard, especially in new developments here in Bellingham. Now, the number one mistake I see buyers and people doing on buying a new construction home here in Bellingham is walking into a model home without any representation. So when you walk into a new construction community, the sales agent there is usually incredibly friendly and very, very helpful. They'll give you a tour, they'll tell you all the floor plans, they'll show you all the features of the house. But the one thing you have to remember is that those agents there represent the sellers and or the developers of that community. And they don't work for you, nor do they represent you as the buyer. So their job is to represent the builder and their interest only. Now, just to make sure, that doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong or sketchy. That just simply means the role that they've been hired to do so is to help to sell that product right there, and not to really mention any other product while they're there at the community. So, but if you don't bring your own buyer's agent with you, you're essentially navigating one of the largest purchases of your life without someone specifically looking out for your side and representing you on that deal. And more importantly, when you have your own buyer's agent, we help you avoid a lot of the other mistakes we're going to talk about in this video, because we're going to guide you through not only the process from beginning to end, but we're going to show you other new construction homes as well that's going to be in the area. And some of these other mistakes in this video, I'm going to talk about what those agents may not do for you, where if you were to hire someone like me who isn't representing those builders and developers, what we're going to do. And we're going to talk about these mistakes and how we're going to help you navigate when it comes to doing inspections or looking at other places, floor models, lot sizes, all these things. So let's go right into mistake number 2. And the mistake number 2 is skipping the inspection. This is the biggest mistake, and I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but the second biggest mistake when you're buying new construction is I see buyers buying new houses, brand new houses, and they skip the inspection. And a lot of buyers assume that because the home is brand new, everything will be perfect. And in reality, it is not. Sometimes buyers will even ask the builder, should I get an inspection? And they might hear something like, everything has to be built to code and it's brand new, so you don't really need to worry about it, and things of that nature. Again, they are there to represent the builder. But if you're working with us as your representation, we will absolutely recommend getting an inspection, and you need to get one 1000%. In all of the new construction homes that I have done, and I have personally represented buyers, we have done an inspection report on every single one of them. Have some of them come out really, really clean? Yes, absolutely. I just did one in King Mountain. There was 3 things on the items. The fan wasn't working and need a little bit of paint and a little bit of caulking. That was it. But I've also walked into some new construction developments where there was a bunch of things that needed to be done. And without that happening, you wouldn't have known that. And the developers don't go back to the homes to make sure everything is done correctly. Yes, is it inspected by the city? Yes, but they're looking out for big major things, making sure the electricity, the plumbing, all these things are up to code, but they don't have some of these finite things when it comes to caulking, making sure everything works, and so on and so forth. So that's why I recommend an inspection every single time because I have seen new construction homes be bad on an inspection report or be even worse on a report than homes that are maybe 20 or 30 years old. So you have to remember that you have electricians, plumbers, framers, roofers, drywall installers, a lot of different people and contractors contributing to this actual build. It's not just one company doing it all. And while builders work hard to maintain quality, and mistakes can definitely happen, a third-party inspection is simply another layer of protection to make sure everything is done correctly before you move in. So please, please, please get an inspection done on the new construction home. Now, the third mistake is choosing the wrong lot. Another mistake that we can have is it's a big impact long-term, and it's choosing that wrong lot. So when buyers are walking through a brand new development, it's easy to focus on the house itself, on the floor plan, the finishes, and the layout. But many buyers don't think what will be happening around that home in the future. We get caught up in what it is now, but we always have to think of what the future is to hold. So when we work with buyers in new construction communities, we're not just looking at the house that's being built right now, we're also looking at the future phases of the development, what we could potentially be built around you, what kind of wetlands are around you, is there trees, is there gonna be a house directly behind you, is it gonna be a road, is it gonna be noisy, so things of this nature. So again, a lot might look great today, but in 5 years, the surroundings could be a completely different. And that's where maybe that agent for that developer may not be telling you these things. And that's why we always try to help our buyers not just think about the house that they're buying today, but what the location will look like years down the road, what will be in front of you, is there apartments going on across the street, and there's so many different things to think of when it comes to the lot. Now, the fourth mistake is very, very crucial. And that's not understanding the builder incentives. So another mistake that buyers make is not fully understanding how builder incentives actually work. And this is where that representative will not tell you these things. So please, please listen to this one. So a lot of buyers will see something like a rate buy down or being advertised and assuming you're gonna get a 4.99% or a 5.5% interest rate. And that the builder is just offering some kind of special promotion. But what many buyers don't realize is that those incentives are usually being paid by the builder and as part of the lender as part of their marketing strategy. So a lot of builders, instead of lowering the price of the home, which can affect future sales, and I totally get it, they don't want to sell something for $600, the next one for $575, but builders will often use that money to offer interest buy downs, closing cost credits, or upgrade packages, new fridge, washer dryer, so on and so forth. So the price of the home may stay the same, but the incentives is structured in a way that help attract buyers. So for example, you might be buying a $700,000 house, you might see a rate buy down all the way down to 4.99. There is a cost for that, and that could be $10,000, it could be $20,000, we're not sure, and that's our job to figure out if you want to use that X amount for a rate buy down, or if we could use it to actually get the price of the home down. Now, it doesn't hurt to ask, but it's better for me to represent you to ask that seller and that builder, because if you're using that same agent, they will automatically tell you, nope, this is how it is, this is what it's gonna be like, sign here, that's what it is, because that's their goal, is to represent that builder. Okay, the fifth mistake that we see fairly often is we see that buyers getting a little carried away at the design center and the model home. So when you walk into a model home, it's designed to look nice, really nice. All the upgrades are available. Everything and anything you can put into that house is going to be in that model home. So the builder usually loads them up with the flooring, roofing, cabinets, countertops, making it look really pristine. But what many buyers don't realize is that the model home is really there to showcase what the home could look like with upgrades. Now, the base price you see for a home usually does not include most of those finishes that you see in the model home. And that's a mistake that people are seeing, is that they're gonna buy a $500,000 home, that they're gonna think their house is gonna look just like that model home, which that model home really is probably $550,000 with all those upgrades. So then once they start going through the design, or they're picking out their lot, then they start seeing and they start selecting the finishes, and they realize that many of these upgrades cost extra, and it can add up really quickly. And you also have to remember that some of these upgrades aren't going to give you an ROI in the future. They're just going to cost you more, which is, you're just going to have to be okay with that, because some of these are not going to add more value to your home, but it will add more cost. So make sure when you're going through new construction, you're going to see what you're going to get for that home. Pick out ones that are a little bit more realistic, and you have to remember, when you're in these new construction communities, if it's going to cost an extra $10,000 or $20,000 for these upgrades, the builder will require a $20,000 or whatever the difference is in, or how much ever that's going to cost you in upgrades. They will have that as a non-refundable deposit, because if they can't sell that house for $10,000 more because of all the upgrades that you picked, that non-refundable deposit that you will lose will cover the difference. Now for the sixth mistake, that has to do with not thinking about the long-term value of this house. There are some new construction places here in Bellingham where long-term it may not make sense. It might be in a great neighborhood, but will you have a lot of equity that will grow over the next 5 to 7 years? And that is the job of what we do. We separate ourselves from representing the sellers. We help you to make these decisions and really think through whether the community that you want to be in is really the right community for you, or if we should look elsewhere. So a lot of times the buyers will fall in love with a brand new home, and it's easy to focus on the excitement of moving in and enjoying the space and having something brand new. Again, I get it. I bought 2 brand new construction homes, so I know that feeling. But our job also is to see, like, hey, if you like this house, why don't we look at other houses? And there's a lot of developers out there that don't want their agents to really have any recommendations for any other houses in the area, because their job is to sell that product and that product only. And I think that's where the biggest crucial mistake is when you walk into a community like that, is you are going to meet salespeople. Again, they're not going to do anything that should be unethical or anything shady. Will some do that? Sure, but that happens anywhere. But they may not take the time to kind of help you think through what's happening with your journey in buying a home here in Bellingham or anywhere in Whatcom County. Now remember, new construction can be an incredible option for buyers. Again, I love brand new houses. There's nothing like them. You get a brand new house, smells good, it's fresh, no one's lived in it, it's a modern layout, it's energy efficient, which is huge here in our area, and the opportunity to personalize a lot of finishes or some finishes is great. But like I said, any real estate purchase, there are a lot of moving parts behind the scenes, and having someone on your side who understands the process, who can make a huge difference in helping you avoid some of the mistakes that a lot of buyers commonly make. That's why it's such a great idea to have representation. So if you are thinking about buying a new construction home here in Bellingham or anywhere in Whatcom County, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, my name is Aldo. I'm with the Levain Real Estate Team. All my information will be down here below. Please reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text. That's my personal cell phone number, so it'll come to my phone every single time. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you like and subscribe, because we put out new videos every single week about living in Bellingham, the local real estate market, and what it's really like to live here in Bellingham and buy a home in the area. So again, guys, my name is Aldo with the Levain Real Estate Team with Windermere, and we'll see you next time.